Hello. I am making a video, and this time I'm going to upload it to YouTube, to my YouTube channel. I didn't want to put any more videos on the YouTube channel, but I decided I am going to do it because I'm on a different computer. I'm on my old Chromebook. I had to do power wash, and now it says that now it had, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't work anymore because it's older, and I also don't have the password now in here for Rumble, for my Rumble account. And so I don't even, it's too much trouble with the phone and all of this to get all of that back for this computer. So I'm just gonna upload to YouTube on this computer, and then I will upload to Rumble on the other computer, and maybe once in a while also to YouTube. So I kind of wanted to protest the commercials because the commercials are getting out of hand now on YouTube. They really are. It's getting a little bit, how should I say? It's getting wild. To euphemize this situation, right? It's getting very. They're getting bold with their commercial approach. So, but yeah, I have Ad Blocker Plus, and this is a constant fight between Ad Blocker Plus, which is an English non-profit organization. They're doing this to help us to not be bombarded with extremely loud commercials while you're doing a meditation video or listening to classical music, and suddenly, like, the pharma industry is forcing whatever illnesses into your face, and like blasting, and you're like shaken up, and what's going on? But most people don't say anything. That's what's bad. That's why the Biden criminals have gone to this extreme. That's why the Biden criminals managed to infiltrate so far into our government and all institutions. Because most people just put up with stuff. That's why, okay? And we shouldn't put up with things anymore. Don't put up with stuff. And see, the thing is, when people are corrupt themselves, which is the majority of humans, I'm sorry, I have to call the kid by the name. It is what it is, okay? When most people are corrupt, then they are even less likely to say something about corruption, right? Because they all figure, particularly the closer the corruption is to their own corruption, then they're not going to say anything. They're not going to blow the whistle because they think that will backfire on what they have done and how they were corrupt and how they have lied to others, or they might lose their job, or maybe they will be kicked out of Hollywood or whatever, So it's all of this stuff that's what has led up to literally all the crimes that are being committed, that have been committed. But finally, Donald Trump is back in office now, okay? So, and on the very second of being back on that desk, he already said the day before that his fingers will be sore from signing all the necessary measures into the governmental legislation that need to be done in order to restore justice, balance, and order, okay? And so he was just signing and signing and signing. All the stuff was already laid out by him, Elon Musk, Robert Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, the good people, the so-called white hats, okay? They all, it's a big team, it's a big family, and they all knew exactly which step to take. They are very, very, they're very organized in a good way, okay? In a benevolent, helpful way. They're very meticulous, very organized, very orderly. They know which step to take. They are very good chess players. They're geniuses, okay? They all are, you know. Elon and Donald are at the top geniuses. So Elon in terms of technology, Donald Trump in terms of management, business, people skills, diplomacy, peacemaking, and so on. Okay, absolute genius. So let's be very infinitely grateful that we have these amazing people, that we have this amazing Donald Trump, angel soul, angel. No, he is a God level soul. He is one of the highest soul levels in the whole world. Okay, it's becoming crystal clear. The more the more I see, the more I learn about him, the more I find out about how they function, what they do, how he communicates, how he manages, the more I am impressed, and the more I know that he is on the highest, among the highest, most advanced souls on their soul journeys, from all the souls here that are gathered here in this very difficult realm called planet Earth. Okay, so very difficult, very, very difficult, condensed, thick air of condensed energy levels of obstacles, of suffering, of pain, of hurdles, and difficult level, the difficulty level of 100. Okay, that's what I think is here on Earth. And whoever chose to come here into existence, any soul is brave, very, very brave. Every soul, whether it's a beginner soul coming here or a more advanced soul coming here into existence in any form, that's very, very brave, very brave. Particularly in mammal form, okay, that's particularly difficult, and particularly, all the advanced, the very advanced, biologically advanced beings like elephants, humans, dogs, horses, and so on. Whales are more advanced than the land animals, including humans. Whales are more advanced biologically than humans. I always have to add this in my videos. I leave no opportunity untouched when I get into that subject to make sure people understand this, because people obviously don't understand it. Most people still don't. There's so many people, like in South America, who think whales are somehow fish. Oh my gosh. Whales are the most biologically advanced species there are here on Earth. Okay, they are mammals like us, like dogs. Okay, like sea lions. They're also mammals. They're not fish. So for anyone out there, fish are people that are shooting sea lions in the head. I've seen all of this here. We live at the ocean, and I've seen these crimes committed, and these people are absolutely terrified of anyone looking over their shoulders, including people that are working for NOAA. I guess it's what does it stand for? NOAA, North Atlantic Administration or something. So North Atlantic? No, that cannot be. I don't know what it stands for, NOAA. But it's a governmental institution. I should look this up later. Governmental institution that is in it with corruption. Okay. National Oceanic National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. That's what it stands for. Okay. Blue God agrees. 1111. Blue God said, yeah, you figured it out on your own. I'm nervous right now. That's why I couldn't figure it out first. So, when I'm nervous like this, making a video, and I'm always a little bit nervous, okay, when I'm making a video, then my brain is like, my brain goes, my brain function slows way down. That's very embarrassing, but it is what it is. I'm not going to delete this now. This is what it is, okay. And I have trouble breathing also, and I have to not let myself get off the hook with this and do avoidance, but I have to confront myself with whatever problems there are, whatever, any kind of mistake I make. I want to confront myself with this, and I want other people to know, okay, that obviously I don't edit my videos. And I want them to know that I have problems too, with my brain. And sometimes I have a blockage. Sometimes I stutter. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Sometimes I am trying to fish for words or try to find the right explanation or expression. Just the right expression on how to explain something, whatever it is, whatever emotional state, or there are so many different emotional states that we don't even have the language for it. So I'm trying the best I can to translate that into a language, so into a certain range of vocabulary. If you just have a panel of words or a panel of colors, then you try to do the best you can with that panel of words or colors, or whatever you have. Symbols in the computer, that's very limited, the range of symbols that we have from the government, as people say. Those are governmental symbols. No, those are from Bill Gates, not from the government. So, I mean, if the Biden criminals were to design symbols for us to use, they wouldn't even have a heart, right? They would not have any hearts. They wouldn't have any plants or trees in there to choose from. They would have machetes and bombs. Those are all of these symbols. The bombs, the knives, that comes from the Biden criminals. Okay, they invented those symbols for us to use. So Donald Trump has the peace sign. So that comes straight from them. Peace, all the peace symbols, peaceful symbols, the heart, feeling love. Hearts coming out of your eyes and head. So that's all from Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It's it is symbolically true what I'm saying. I don't know if they actually invented those, but I'm saying energetically for sure. Okay, that's what they stand for. They stand for the peace and the love and the kindness and making the world great. Maybe for the first time. We have the chance now. So now is the chance, and everyone has to also help with this. So we can't just rely on some people, some adults somewhere on the top to manage everything for us. No, everyone has to manage their own lives, and everyone has to make their lives ethical, where their lives are not going to be a burden. Their daily living and consumption is not a burden on other beings. Like if you know that palm oil, for example, comes from exploitation, and it comes from the chopping off or the Amazon rainforest that we all depend on. This is a huge, wide range of vegetation on Earth, is the Amazon rainforest. And the people are cutting that down at a rapid rate. Okay, this is very dangerous. So they are hurting the animals there. They are taking the homes away from the animals, the protection, the shelter that the animals use, you know. They have to have these palm trees. They have to have all of these amazing trees out there. I wonder what that was. I hope that something fell. I don't even know if this was Paul or a ghost or whatever. Because I thought Paul went to the store. Oh boy, I'm always afraid that. I used to be more afraid of ghosts in the past than of burglars. I'm not kidding you. Okay, I had a panic, absolute panic of ghosts. And that went on it didn't stop very long ago. It went on way past 2012. So in 2012 it took on a peak of terror with ghosts. It's so incredibly embarrassing to talk about this, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie about it. Okay, so I am not like Kai Trump. Okay, Kai Trump, the granddaughter of Donald Trump, is the epitome of relaxation and high self-esteem that is natural. Okay, it's not pretentious. A natural wellness, okay, of mind and high self-esteem. So her parents must have really loved her and nursed her, nurtured her well, and done it right. But it's also genetics, of course. That's in the family. It's in the Trump family. It was natural high self-esteem, and talking to a billion people in an audience, like talking to your best buddy while you're watching a movie and eating popcorn. Okay, so now I'm a little bit jealous. Yeah, you can say that. I am jealous of that. But whatever. We have the right to be jealous. I do not have that self-esteem, obviously. I get nervous. I stumble around. I stutter sometimes. I'm a little bit like Elon Musk. And I think a lot of people with Asperger's, which I have, and Elon Musk has, and many other people have, and I don't even know if Bill Gates claims to have Asperger's. I don't believe it. The way he talks when he's being interviewed, he's chill as it gets. So he has a low resting heart rate, that man. That's what all the sociopaths have. He mixed this up with sociopathy. So okay. Bill Gates does not have Asperger's. He is a sociopath. Okay, just wanted to make this very crystal clear. That's different. Yes. Someone with Asperger's is like the opposite extreme of a sociopath. Someone with Asperger's is a dorky dog. You know, the person that gets extremely bullied in school to the point of where you don't want to go to school anymore. To the point of where you like, oh, should I rescue Mastino Neapolitano and put a service vest on that dog, and then maybe I can go to school. Or just don't even go to the public school anymore, go to a private school. Go to a religious school even, or Jehovah's Witnesses. Just make sure you bring your Mastino Neapolitano in case the debate with religious people gets a bit out of hand. So they get a little angry too, these religious people. They have religious personality disorder. That's again something else other than Asperger's. So just want to make this very crystal clear. Someone with Asperger's, I would say, I don't know for 100% certainty, but I would say with 99.999% of certainty, I can say that's what I believe, at least. I don't know if it's true. I make OCD rituals. That 99.9999% of people with Asperger's are not religious. That's just my hypothetical guess here, but I could be wrong. I mean, if you know someone who has Asperger's and is also a fundamentalist, write under this video, because I'm interested to that. That'd be a medical curiosity, I would say. Because people with Asperger's, the whole point about Asperger's is they want to lay this out as a disability, yeah. But it's not. It's like, I don't even know where to start with this. I talked about this before. Society has been under the thumb of mind control, okay? And the neurotypical person, the average person, is extremely mind controlled. Okay? It's gotten a little bit better recently. There's a lot of those soul volunteers that Dolores Cannon talked about. They came into existence and they're already equipped with more knowledge. So from all the young generation people, okay, they have a lot of those light worker, angel, God level souls, and they're more advanced. I wonder what's going on in the kitchen. But I'm not as afraid of ghosts anymore, particularly not with the dog, when I have a dog on my side. So yes, there is my baby dog. He is always there with me. Yes. But I even had a Great Dane, an albino hyper psychic Great Dane. In the past, extra huge. At the other house, we were there most of the time and not here. But we were here too sometimes, but we didn't have it cozy like we have it now. So because we focused on the other house, on the big house, and it was the big house that really had some serious ghosts. So when we moved in here, in the very beginning, it had ghosts. So, but Kenny made peace with them, gave them peace. Kenny was very healing, amazing being, and Kenny and I together gave the ghost at the other house peace. So, and we reassured them that there were several. We reassured them that they can go home to wherever they would want to be, the Orion Nebula or the Pleiades star constellation. So wherever, or the Andromeda, okay, or the Lyran. So wherever they originally come from or have been at before, so they can go there and they can relax now. They don't have to stick around here. This is just miserable. So why, if you are that free that you can just shoot into the sky, you can fall into the sky, then why stick around here in this heavy condensed atmosphere and energetic, condensed, painful, thick air? Why? What's the point? The reason why they're doing this, some of them, is because they feel like they have been wronged. Okay? And they're very angry, and obviously, the most angry ones are the ones like the Blue Fire Witch, who has been seen out there in the elfin forest. And it sounds like this elfin forest sounds like it's this extremely rural or pristine environment where no one is. No, this is down there in the south between San Diego and LA. There is this last piece of forest, and a lot of that has been logged, and that's another reason why the witch is very angry. What happened there is the Blue Fire Witch used to be a woman in physical existence, an innocent woman, and I think what happened is that was somewhere in the 1800s where they had absolutely no women's rights. They took everything from her. They took her daughter. They took her house. They set her on fire and something like this. So that's why her soul didn't leave that area. She was very angry about this. And then when people came there to make a spectacle out of it, and there was Paul knows a guy who said, I have to see the Blue Fire Witch, and he went out there by himself, which is a very daring thing to do. He drove down there. He drove down that highway. I forgot now the number of the highway, but he drove through that elfin forest. And there weren't very many cars on the road. It was at night even. And he sees a blue light coming through the forest, the Blue Fire Witch. Okay. And he sees that blue light coming through the forest. And all of a sudden, as he continues, there is a woman standing in the middle of the road. who is dressed like in the 1800s, like an Amish person. And her hair is all ruffled up, and she stares at him as he is approaching. And he knows right away that is the Blue Fire Witch. I better drive right through her, right? Drive right through her. What if that's not the witch? What if it's not a ghost? What if that is actually a person who's trying to get help from someone? No, he drives right through her, and he did, and then she anchored herself onto the back of his car. I don't know whether it was a car or truck, but I think the back of a car. She just clung to the back of his car, and she stared through the back window right at him into the rear view mirror. And he was terrified to death. And he kept on speeding up and racing but he didn't shake her off. But as soon as he got into the next community where there was a 7-Eleven store and a gas station, the Blue Fire Witch was gone. So she didn't want to be seen by other people, but she wanted to scare him. And I understand where she's coming from, you know. She's been through so much, and then there are people coming out there trying to mock her like this, and trying to not even trying to communicate with her, you know, to find out how she is feeling and what's going on, and how can they help her to heal this, right? No, they view this from a very selfish point of view, from a clickbait point of view, from some kind of popularity gaining point of view. So, and sure enough, he went back to school. They were at school, at the high school at that time. They were around 18, Paul and his friends. And that guy bragged and bragged and bragged and told everyone what happened. The Blue Fire Witch attached herself to the back of his car. And so I am not going there to that area. We have driven through there to the hot spring, the Don Juan Capistrano, or what was the name? Yeah, I think that's the name. Don Juan Capistrano Hot Springs, which is halfway between LA and San Diego. Gorgeous hot springs, by the way. Very secluded, and a good Samaritan who lives there in that residential area. He said, "You're looking for the hot springs, I'll tell you where it is. You have to cross through this barbed wire fence there, and then you walk down that trail." And I was very grateful to him, but the other people there, they didn't want any new people coming there to the hot springs. Which I understand, because people who come there, they usually leave trash. We don't leave any trash behind, okay? So we're very environmentally conscious. And the Blue Fire Witch did not show herself to us. The Blue Fire Witch knows who is good and who is not. She knows who is advanced and who is mocking her, or who is not advanced, and who cares about her. So she discerns between all of these different people. So she knows that Paul and Samantha and Ludwig and Samantha were our former dogs, Harlequin Great Danes, and we went there with our former motorhome, little Dolphin motorhome that we had at that time, and that was very, very nice to go there once in a while. And so the upper pools, they were very, very hot. And there were two guys that were maintaining this as volunteers. They wanted to make this into a paradise. They even brought cacti plants there that they planted there. They wanted to make this really, really nice. But I don't know how they can maintain this. This is a long hike to get there and then carrying stuff. But they were so enthusiastic about this area. And wonderful, wonderful guys that were trying to make this into some kind of resort, and we saw them a few times at different hot springs also, because we always went to different hot springs. And the one in Gaviota also, very, very nice, beautiful. Those are all wild hot springs. But there was a pool further downstream from the hot pools that was kind of hidden under a lot of brush. And I checked that out, and I had all of that. I had this huge hidden mud pool all for myself that had just the right temperature, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, high sulfur content, hot spring water, and it was heaven. And the dogs were always wandering back and forth to sheep herd Paul and me back together. So they're always very watchful and protective. So they would come check on me. They see I'm still alive. I'm still there enjoying my pool. And then they would go back up to the hot pool where Paul was. Always back and forth. But the dogs liked it there too, very much. It was wonderful. Even got dark. I never saw the witch. I didn't know about the witch at that time. Paul told me that just in a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, he told me about that. What this guy in his school, that I don't know, in his class, but someone in his school, in his high school, what he told people, and Paul didn't believe it. Paul thought that's just a hoax that he made up because he wanted to be popular. He wanted people to gather around him, but I believe it. See, that's how I am. I believe this, and I feel very sorry for that so-called witch, for this woman, for that ghost. I felt very, very sorry for her, what she had been through. And there's another case at the East Coast where the same thing has happened. That was in the 1800s or 1700s even, where she was half Native American and half white, and she wanted to make peace. She wanted the families to stay together, be a union, and not be divided because of ethnicity. She tried so hard, but there were people jealous of her, and there were people that felt threatened by this unification. And as it always goes, there were settlers that wanted this dispute or this war, and they wanted to get rid of her, and they set her house on fire, and she was in the house, and they killed all of her children in there, and I think her whole family. And so that left her also stuck there as a ghost, and she has been seen there. And I think that's where that Blair Witch Project probably comes from, because I think it was out there near Connecticut somewhere. Okay, so farther inland, but out there at the East Coast. And these things, there are, the people that made a movie about this, they probably didn't know for sure whether this is true or not, but they wanted to make a horror movie about it. But I really believe this. I believe when people are saying that they have seen a ghost, or they have seen a woman, an old woman there walking through the forest, and she looked weird and stuff like this. And she was unrestful. I believe that. I don't believe that the ghost murdered animals. That I don't believe. I think they just made this up, which is slander, really, Don't slander a ghost, don't make a spectacle out of a ghost, don't laugh about it, don't come there and gather and make this into some kind of ghost ride roller coaster for your excitement. Because the ghosts, all ghosts that are still hanging out in certain places, have been through unimaginable pain and suffering during their lifetime. And they have been frauded and wronged, and many of them have been murdered, or they had their children taken away from them forcefully. Okay. That's not something to make fun of. What we need to do instead is we need to meditate on helping them energetically. People should gather around these places, and they should meditate together, and they should do prayers for those souls, and they also need to resolve their own pain, the people. Because how can we help someone if we don't resolve our own emotional pain? We have to work on our own emotional pain. And when people make fun of someone else, or make jokes about a person or a ghost or any entity, and I've heard people making fun of ETs that have come down and that had encounters with people. You think the ETs are like, unless they're really advanced, some of them may just be on the same level as we are, and they will take offense to this. They will feel mocked and hurt, and so they might have an angry reaction to this, which I have heard stories. I don't know if these stories are true, but maybe there are. Maybe some of them are. Okay, so why mock people? Why mock anyone? When people mock someone, that means they haven't resolved their own issues. People who mock others have shame issues. They have been shamed. They have been humiliated. They have been overpowered. They have been encroached on. They have been disrespected by their own family, by their own parents. Because a lot of people don't know how to interact, even with their own children, or with anyone, in a decent way. So, and that left a lot of children growing up, and they have issues, and then they acted out on others, whoever that is. So it's very important that people, when they gather, not just the spiritual, we are so above. No, you are not above anything, okay? So if you want to help a witch like this, you gather, and if you really mean to help this ghost, you also have to work on your own unrestful ghost that is still in your body, okay? That is your soul, okay? And also your ego energy and all of that you have created. So you have to work on that, and this is the most important thing. This is the most important thing that we need to do. Obviously, we have to do governmental efficiency, and we have to kick a lot of people out. You're fired, right? All of this has to be done. But if we don't work on our own issues, okay, and yeah, Elon Musk has trauma, okay, I can see that. It's obviously clear. But he's a Buddha level soul and the highest advanced soul. So it's highest advanced soul there is. So even with all of this feeling of being victimized, and he has been victimized. He has been beaten up, almost killed as a teenager. He has severe trauma. His dad has had jealousy of him, and his dad was constantly feeling threatened by his son's high IQ. And so his dad, who is not an evolved soul, who wants to be boss all the time, right? And then the son has read all these encyclopedia and memorized them, and so that was obviously threatening to this ego of the father. And so the father abused him. He beat Elon. He beat him up all the time. He mocked him, mistreated him horribly. And yet Elon wanted to live with him because he had these enormous rooms or libraries of books. And he wanted to read, I don't know how many books per day, 10 books per day or something. So that's what he was doing. That was his hobby, reading books, speed reading books. And when you speed, the more books you read in science, technology, well, obviously, the higher your IQ becomes. I mean, in his case, he was already born with an unbelievably freak level high IQ. And then, but this high IQ is thirsty for more knowledge, for finding out, learning, never ending to learn. And so then, with this expansion of knowledge, then the IQ has even more to grab onto and expand even further out. So this was obviously an ego threat to his dad and to school, boys that were in his high school, and so on. So it was not a ghost, it was Paul. You made a bunch of noise in the kitchen. Okay, so anyway, Paul is very nervous. He gets very, very, very nervous in front of camera, or if I even talk about him in front of the camera. So extremely, extremely nervous. So he doesn't even want his voice to be heard and all of that. Yeah, I heard a real loud sound and I thought it was a ghost, but it was you. Yeah, I think you fell, right? No. So, but anyway, we need to work on our egos. He has to work on his ego. And I see Elon Musk very angry about the injustice, and rightly so. I mean, I don't blame him for it, particularly when he deals with infiltrators that are coming in to try to work with him. And then he has to kick them out because, and I'm always glad to hear if he kicks someone out before it's too late. Like for example, with George Hotz, George Hotz in the beginning when he got Twitter. So George Hotz really made it difficult for Elon Musk to make Twitter better. So that was before he called it X. And so with George Hotz, he was, I think he was just an intern, he wasn't even paid. But George Hotz was paid by someone else to sabotage Twitter for Elon Musk. And I bet you he was paid by George Soros and Bill Gates and people like that. So, by the time he found out that George Hotz had done a lot of damage to the system of Twitter, the entire algorithmic system of it, the entire network there, how things are interacting with each other. So, by the time he found out about it, he had already done so much. He had done so much sabotage, George Hotz, with Twitter, that it was enormously difficult to sort all of this out and fix all of that. Not only did he inherit this website in a very bad shape, already very, very rigged and very, very groomed in one lopsided woke corporate mafia direction. But then George Hotz comes in. I volunteer to help, right? And he ruined it completely. And then he fired him, and then he had better people that were cleaning all of that mess up. So it took them years. But they did. Together they are making this better and better and better, of course. But the sooner he finds out that someone is an infiltrator and kicks that person out, the better it is, before it escalates, before that person does a lot of damage and sabotage. For example, the recent rocket ship that blew up, they found out later on that it had a hole in it on the side, so that something was in a way tweaked where it would trigger an explosion once it reaches a certain altitude. Sabotage again, okay? And there are always these people that are trying to sabotage Elon Musk, no matter what he's doing, with Tesla, with SpaceX, with the X website, whatever he's working on. There will always be these infiltrators that are eager to come in and do a bunch of damage. People need to understand this. And why are they doing this? Because they're paid. Why are they paid to sabotage him? Because there are people backstage that do not want to be seen by anyone. Bill Gates is just one of them that is in the public spotlight, but he's one of those, okay? George Soros is another one, or now George Soros is too old to do any more sabotage, so he's, I guess, like Joe Biden. But there are other people, the Rothschilds, Lockheed Martin people that have they're very invested in Lockheed Martin and Boeing. People that are stringholder billionaires that are not trying to make the world a better place. They're only concerned about making more money, and those people behind the scenes, they are paying murderers. They paid a murderer to murder that Sushir, because Sushir had been working at OpenAI and saw what was going on there and was about to blow the whistle. So the people backstage had him assassinated. Yeah, be careful, lock the door, okay? So now if I hear some loud sounds now, then it must be the baby dog. But once baby dog comes back in, and then I hear loud sounds, then I'm like, it could be a rat, but, obviously, if you hear sounds that are like footsteps or some heavy clapping. Now, then you know, oh, that may be an entity, and I don't want to experience it. I'm so afraid. But today I am more afraid of a hater coming to murder me. So that is my biggest fear right now. So, but it used to be the case in 2012 where I was more afraid of a ghost than a burglar. But I was always afraid of a burglar. So I don't want that to happen. And I have nightmares still to this day from when I was growing up. I was always afraid that a burglar could come in at night and hurt us. And I would go to the door, and I have these nightmares where I go to the door and I manage to put the latch and the deadlock on just in the nick of time before the person on the other side of the door pushes the door open. Like terrible nightmares I have over this. Blue God agrees. 5555. It's the truth, what I'm saying. So we're wrapping the video up now. Yes, we are wrapping the video up. Yes, we are. Yes. In chicken. Blue God protects her, yes. But I want to make sure that people understand we have to help other people and other souls. We have to help each other, okay, to find peace of mind. And it is very important that the most important thing, the most you can help a ghost or anyone who is suffering or not well, well, that includes the psychopath, We shouldn't make fun of anyone. We shouldn't be condemning anyone, putting anyone into a dungeon or something. These people are suffering. They're coming from suffering, okay? And even if they're not coming directly from suffering in this lifetime, they carry suffering from former lifetimes. They also carry suffering through the DNA. This is true. This is science has caught up with this now. This is the truth. Okay? So, but this is not an excuse to get these people out of prison or to get them off the hook or let them free or get them out of the death penalty or death row or whatever. No. These people are dangerous. Very, very dangerous. They are so incredibly dangerous that many of them should get the death penalty. That's where I stand, because there are so many very dangerous people that now I hear more footsteps. But I think it's Paul. He always forgets something. So I do not want to be scared. I don't like that. I'm still scared of ghosts. I still am. But I'm more afraid of someone who is trying to murder me. So, and there are people out there who want to murder me, and it's very sad. There are very dangerous people out there in the world. Elon Musk has, I don't know how many thousands of people that are after him, okay, that want to murder him. And when I smile or laugh about certain things, I don't do this in a mockery way. I do this out of a universal humor way. I do this out of love, out of creativity. And when I laugh about Paul falling or something, I don't do this out of mockery or because I look down on him or something. No. That's a more like a universal humor type of thing. And we all tend to do this, kind of, But obviously, we don't laugh when we care about someone. We don't laugh about someone if they are really struggling and suffering, or if someone is stuttering or something. So someone is having a real hard time or is very nervous, like whatever, good people like Glenn Gould playing the piano, and he said he was world famous, Glenn Gould, and my favorite Bach pianist, who was always playing Johann Sebastian Bach and Goldberg variation, and incredibly beautiful version of interpretation of the Goldberg variations. And it's, by the way, it's in the Goldberg variations are in The Silence of the Lambs, and I believe that they took the Glenn Gould version. I believe that it sounded like it. So, because it's just the best of all, I think. And even though he was that world famous Canadian pianist, Glenn Gould, he still was as nervous as it gets. Okay. So, and I believe that's genetic, and I think that has to do with also with karma, with past incarnations, and with DNA trauma as well, that we inherit from our ancestors as well. So it's a combination of a lot of things. Genetic in general, of course. And can this be healed? I believe it can. Okay, I believe it. But we have to start somewhere in healing ourselves, and we have to start with the most pressing problems that we have. Okay, so nervousness in front of an audience is not my most pressing problem. That I avoid, this situation, right? I can avoid it. For Glenn Gould, it was more difficult to avoid it because he was so passionate about playing the piano, and they urged him to play in front of large audiences. Okay, so a lot of people were cashing in on this, okay, getting their commission on getting him out there in front of millions of people. But it was very difficult for him, and at some point he quit doing it because he could sense the people in the audience. Some of them wanted him to make mistakes, and then they would. I guess a lot of people were jealous of him because he was just such a natural. And I believe that he was the reincarnation of Johann Sebastian Bach. That's what I feel intuitively. Amazing soul. Okay. He left a legacy of beauty behind. Okay. In both of his incarnations, as Johann Sebastian and as Glenn. And it's beautiful. So we need to work on our own emotions instead of letting it out on other people. The journey goes into your own mind, and you have to feel compassion for the other being. Compassion is love, and that's what heals the whole world. Okay, take care. Peace out.